Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters from anime, series or movies such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today from S.H.Figuarts and Demon Slayer, I present to you the Flame Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku. Looking at the front of the box, you can basically see the figure along with all the different expressions that come with them. Looking at the back side of the box, you can see all the expressions that come with this Rengoku, along with him doing several poses. The box is basically decorated with orange and gold, signifying Rengoku's fiery style. On the final side of the box, you have Rengoku doing his signature pose. Rengoku comes in one blister pack. Here you can see the Nichiren sword along with all the different expressions that come with them, along with 4 different sets of hands. This is the 360 of the Flame Hashira straight out of the box, or as he is known in the manga, the Fire Pillar. Overall, looking at the figure, thinking in comparison to the BUZZmod figure, this one he looks a little bit more slimmer, and it might be actually be taller. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. The other thing that I noticed is that his body is separated into more joints, so the articulations that I'm expecting out of this figure should be really good. The other thing is his flame haori is separated into what appears 5 different layers, so that should give us a good range of motions, especially when we try to display him in those action scenes. I really like the key design features that he's got. He looks really clean and sharp. Follow me on IG at Titan del 86. If you recall, a while back we did the BUZZmod version of Rengoku. So this is S.H.Figuarts take on Rengoku. So we will compare both of these figures on a 1x1 to see who did it better, S.H.Figuarts or BUZZmod. Obviously the BUZZmod figure has been out there for a while, so S.H.Figuarts probably took some notes off of that figure as well for their benchmarking. So technically S.H.Figuarts has the slight upper hand, but we'll see if they made good use out of it. Now let's check out what articulation points come with this Rengoku. For the articulation points, I took the cape off just so we could see the figure at its full. And one thing to note, the hair is really spiky. It's actually, you probably want to be careful with it because these things are really sharp. So head movement is really good. You get a nice horizontal left and right. This is as low as you can see. This is as high up as you can see. As far as the hair goes, the front bangs do not move, but the hair is divided into 2 sections, actually 3 sections. So you have the ponytail, so you can get 360 out of it. It does have some up and down movement, as you can see here. The next piece seems to be one piece together, so I'm assuming this whole section attaches to the main base of the back of the head. But even within that piece, it's got 2 more attachments for the 2 segments of the hair. So this one, overall, it goes up and down. You don't really get a good angle out of it, but when you go into the lower sections of the 2 lower ones, you do get some movement there, as you can see here. So you get up and down, and you should be able to get some rotational, which I'm not really seeing, so they're not easy to get, but you can see, hopefully in the camera, you can see how the pinions are attached to the base of the back of the head. So it's there. I don't think it's as good as the one from BUZZmod, but at least they did it. Now as far as the shoulders go, look at that motion. This is as high as the arms can go. And as you can see, this one's got a different mechanism. It seems instead of coming straight from the chest into the shoulder is kind of going in a Y shape, as you can see here. Hopefully the camera can capture that for you. So because of that, that is what gives them the high range motion there. And I think they do this so you can get nice broad sword swings, just as he was depicted in the movie Mugen Train. So you could use that to extend the arm a little bit further. And if you wanted to, let's see. By doing that, it gives you the ultimate cross arms. I think out of all the S.H.Figuarts figures that we've seen on this channel, these are by far the best. And that is because you also get an up-down movement within the shoulder piece, which if you don't pose him right, he's gonna look very weird, as you see here. See that? But the same thing can be done in the back. As you can see, this is as far back as the arms can be crossed. So usually this is what we get when we try to do it on the front side. So if we push the joint back, this is the 360 of the arm. And as you can see, it's got some up and down movement there as well. It's a little bit difficult to get. You get 360 of the bicep. It's there in its own weird way. There's the 90 degree of the elbow. 360 of the wrist. And you do get some good up and down. So the handcuffs is not interfering. You do want to be careful when you're articulating the shoulders, because as you can see, it can leave marks here, as you see here. You kind of see a gash there now. I don't know if that's how the figure came from, or that's what we did, what we're trying to explore its limits. And here you can see that the bangs actually do move. Look at that. Looking for more joints, now you can see that the hair bangs actually do move, and they seem to rotate as well. So I stand corrected. It's got some really good articulations there on the hair. It's got good chest movement, good up and down. The waist can also move up and down, so it's got the same locking mechanism. You see that? To expand the movement. It's got good side movement. This piece is separated, so this is its own little section. So it's basically a ring around the main core of the figure. So most of the movement is going to come from the lower chest if you want to do rotations. This is as high as the leg goes. This is as far back. And this is the split. It's got good rotation of the joints. You can get 360 of the thigh. There's your 90 of the knee. That is one massive piece there. Look at that. Just because the outfit is really baggy. And there obviously you can see the cut here. And there you can actually see the two holes which allowed you for that movement. It's got additional movement here between the calf and the knee. So I can go even further. Not a whole lot as far as getting a 360. So this one's mostly an up and down movement. The toes, inboard, outboard. Not a whole lot in the up motion or the down motion, and it seems like you're limited by the cuffs. And here's the toes. So overall, he's got some really good articulation points. They're really good. I just have to get used to the Y-shaped joints of the shoulders as they attach to the main core of the body. But overall, he's really good. Now let's check out the articulation points of the cape. So if you recall from my video of Rengoku by BUZZmod, that one, the cape was divided into 3. But this one is divided into 4 pieces. Obviously excluding the base section. So compared to the BUZZmod one, all this was one piece, and then this was the secondary pieces here. So now you have more sections. So the base of it is a lot wider. Honestly, it's a lot softer than the one from BUZZmod. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, the BUZZmod one was basically a hard shell with the individual sections, but this is a really soft rubber plastic. So the first one, you can angle it. Hopefully you can see that. So you can pull it all the way back, or you could pull it all the way forward to kind of match the shoulders when he's in the resting position. Then each one of these is just kind of like a wing. So this one can go all the way in there and all the way out. See that? This one, same thing, but as you can see, it's limited by the other two pinions. So not much there, but it can go up and down. And then same thing for this one. You can go all the way in, or you can take it all the way out. And obviously, you get this other motion too. So you can angle them too, sideways. So overall, I think you're getting more motion out of the cape, which is really good. And here you could also see some of the shading there from where it goes from the bright red, the orange, yellow, all the way to the white. And attaching the cape, it doesn't attach to the back or anything. If you see this hook feature, this basically goes on the back of the neck. And you can see it's also articulated to simulate motion. So I'm really liking the cape. It's really good in my opinion. And there you have it. Here's a close-up of the 6 expressions that come with Kyojuro Rengoku. And I also gave you a close-up of his nurturing sword. The first expression shows Rengoku very happy, and it's basically a talking expression. The second one is a neutral expression, followed by the third one, which is a happy expression with the eyes closed. The fourth one is an intense grinning expression. So I think out of all of them, this one is the closest one to an action expression that we're going to get for this figure. The next one is basically the final expression that shows him being scarred and damaged. So you can see the forced trauma that he took to the forehead, and as well as blood coming out of his mouth. So this is one of the expressions of the aftermath of his fight with Akaza. Finally, the last expression is another neutral one, but this one is more of a serious tone. So one thing that I like about this S.H.Figuarts Rengoku is that we have a bunch of different expressions, almost one for every scene. And as you remember from when I did the BUZZmod version, that one was very limited to only 3 of them. And as you can see, we got the same 3 that were available for the BUZZmod version. So let me know in the comments who you think did it better. And if you haven't checked out my video of Rengoku from BUZZmod, I suggest you go check it out so you can see how the 3 expressions fare against these. One thing to note, behind the faceplate of each expression, you have a letter engraved that matches with the blister pack, which goes from A to F, where A is the one that comes with the figure pre-attached, and all the other ones are basically allocated to their particular slots within the blister pack. For this scene, I have Rengoku ready to go into battle, and the expression shows him talking where he got really excited. And this is one where Rengoku was always good at having quotes. And I think out of all the Demon Slayers, I think Rengoku had one of the best quotes. So in this one, it's basically where he's saying, set your heart ablaze, and you can see all the flames and everything just start coming out of him. And that is something that I noticed a lot during Rengoku. Every time he drew his sword, fire just ended up showing out of nowhere. It was basically as if he just generated fire from just small minimal movements. So here I have him with some flame effect parts just to captivate that intense scene. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. One thing that I like about the figure is that I thought posting the cape in the back position would have caused him to be a little bit heavy, but here he's still holding the weight to still being centered. So I am not struggling yet to balance the figure. One thing that does have difficulties is when you're trying to move the arms within the shoulders and you have them with the cape on. The cape basically starts to get in the way of you getting the access to the joints. So it becomes a little bit frustrated there. But the other thing I'm noticing is the articulation on the back pieces of the hair. They're not really going all the way up, so it's limiting how much I can pull the cape back. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. Overall, I do like the design of the character, especially how they did it here. He does look a lot slimmer when compared to the BUZZmod figure.
Know this, if you bear your fangs of the innocent, I will see your bone turn to ash with my bright red blade of fire.
For this scene, I have Rengoku with a smile on his face. This one is just showing how friendly he is, even though he is really strong. The other thing I did different on this one was I did my own version of the cross arms. If you recall from S.H.Figuarts, especially the Dragon Ball figures, where they always have the characters with the cross arms, as that is kind of like their iconic looks. So I kind of went and did this one for Rengoku, just to make good use out of the Y joint from the shoulder. And as you can see, it does work out very well. The only thing that would have made this a little bit better, if you recall the S.H.Figuarts Tanjiro, where the forearm is divided into two sections that allows you an extra movement. I believe if this figure had that, then I would have been able to truly replicate it. But as far as the articulation goes here, you can see that it's done very well in my opinion. So having the wide joint along with the shoulder extension piece, it does help the figure pull those arms really forward, as you can see here. The other thing I did here is I took advantage of the extra sections of the cape. So on this one, you can kind of see that the wind is blowing to its side, so the cape is actually at an angle. And the one thing that I like about the cape is that you have the ability to actually pull it forward to where it's covering more of the shoulder, more into the biceps, which you can see on the right hand side of the figure. And then on the left hand, you can kind of see the flame pattern kind of having that sway look into it as the cape is being blown back by the wind. The other thing is I put the sword back in the sheath, so now you can see the Tsuba. You do get two different sections of swords, so you can display it inside the sheath or outside.
Wait a second! Mr. Rengoku!
For this scene, I have Kyojuro eating dinner with Yusuke, and then Pooh landed on the rice, embarrassing Yusuke. So you can see Yusuke with that embarrassing, frustrating face, and Kyojuro just found that amusing. So you can see the smile on his face with his eyes closed, while Yusuke is getting really frustrated on the other side. This is a cross collaboration between Demon Slayer and Yu Yu Hakusho. So here you have the Flame Hashira sitting down with the Spirit Detective. One thing to note, watching Demon Slayer, it seems to have a lot of parallels to Yu Yu Hakusho. One example is that the main characters have to go through a final selection type of test where they navigate through a forest that is full of demons before they get to the next stage. For example, Yusuke had to go through the forest of demons. In similar pattern was Tanjiro, where he also had to go through a forest full of demons just to pass his final selection for Demon Core, where at the top of the mountain they both ended up reaching the goal where Yusuke got to meet Genkai and Tanjiro got to pick the material for his Nichiren sword. The other thing that was similar is that they both had to fight a really tough demon within the forest. So that is a good example of how the two series have in common, and they kind of draw based on the same folklore stuff. The other thing that they have in common is that they're both fighting demons. So you have the Spirit Detective and the Hashiras basically going back and forth against the demons. But in this one, they're just sitting down having a nice meal while being interrupted by Pooh. In case you haven't checked out my video of Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho and this S.H.Figuarts, I suggest you go check it out. That is one really amazing figure, and right now I'm basically waiting for him to announce the third installment of the S.H.Figuarts line for Yu Yu Hakusho. So Yusuke was the first one, then you had Togoro, so I'm wondering who the third one's gonna be. And hopefully they end up doing more than just these two characters in the future. So my fingers are crossed because by now we should have seen another figure being announced. Kind of like we're seeing the Demon Slayers from S.H.Figuarts. They're basically pumping them out on a month by month case.
Tasty! Tasty!
You sure about that?
Yes, of course. Make that 2 bowls.
For this scene, I have Rengoku in the midst of battle. Here, he has swung his sword, and you can see all the fire that's being created by the swing of it. For this one, I gave him the neutral expression, where he looks very serious, and that is one thing. As he did all his strikes and all that, he didn't really show too many expressions. It seems like he was mostly concentrated on his fire breathing techniques. For this one, I pulled the cape all the way up and all the way back, just so you can see what variations you can do with the cape. The one thing to note, the cape attaches to the back of the neck, so that is one thing that becomes kind of limiting of this figure, is when you have him with the cape, the head cannot really look up. That is because the section of the hair that is in the backside kind of tends to interfere. You don't really get a good up motion out of it. You get a really good downward, but this is basically the maximum for where the cape can go up that matches with the hairline. And that is something to be conscious, because you don't want it to have that strong rub condition between the hair and the cape. I have a feeling that the color of the cape may rub off if it makes harsh contact with the bottom tips of the hair. I like what they did with the cape. It does give you the ability to do different poses of the figure. And once again, I made good use of the Y attachment feature of the shoulder. So here you can see how it's helping the arm go all the way back just to give us a smooth sword swing. Plus I really like how the flame effect parts really complement this figure, and that is something that Rengoku really goes with. Every time he took a swing of his sword, flames just came out. Even the slightest move compared to the other Hashiras where they actually had to pour that force out, it seems like Rengoku is easily able to achieve it. For this scene, I have the final fight between Akaza and Kyojuro. This is part of the big climax from the Mugen Train movie where they both faced off to the end. So in this scene, I have Rengoku blocking one of Akaza's attacks using one of his fire breathing techniques to negate the attack. So in this one, Rengoku has the grunting expression, Akaza has the smiling expression. In case you're wondering, this is the BUZZmod version of Akaza. I did a review of him a while ago, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. He is a really good figure to have in the collection. I'm not sure exactly when he came out, but it took me forever to find him. The good thing is that I did manage to get him, and he's an awesome figure to have. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. So going back to this scene, this basically encompasses the relationship between both of these fighters, where Akaza just wanted to fight with Rengoku for an eternity, so he kept pleading to him to become a demon, while Rengoku on the other side kept objecting to his ideas. And this is one of the scenes that made Mugen Train one of the best movies out there. It was just pure action of these two going back and forth, exchanging blows, and they were also exchanging ideologies of their beliefs, which makes the scenes even more impactful. Which makes me really excited for what we're going to see on Infinity Castle. So we will see if Tanjiro is able to avenge Rengoku. Follow me on IG at Titandero86. The only thing that I'm not liking about the figure is how they went about the back section of the hair. Even though it's divided into 3 sections and you get articulation points out of it, it doesn't really help you because even then it's still limited, so you're not able to pull Rengoku's head in the up direction if you wanted to make him look up. That's only able to if the cape's not there, and that is because the cape and the neck are basically within the same space. So the hair is not helping, the hair just makes it even worse. To me, that is the biggest flaw on this figure. For this scene, I have Rengoku setting his heart ablaze. This is basically one of the final scenes where he powered it up to the maximum to fight Akaza. So for this scene, I gave him the expression that shows his wounds. As you can see, the left eye is basically crushed and he's bleeding out. This is one of the most graphic expressions that I've got in my collection, and it basically adds more impact to the scene. Even though Kyojuro was heavily injured, he had broken ribs, a smashed out eye, he was still willing to fight Akaza to the death. Overall, this figure is really good. I really like what S.H.Figuarts has done here. So I'm really liking the execution that they've done here for this S.H.Figuarts as far as the cape goes, and the new wide joint attachment feature, which I think is helping the figure very well, especially since they also did another section between the bicep and the shoulder. So technically you have 3 different segments along with the extension of the back piece, which gives you this perfect combination to allow you to do more things with the figure, which I haven't seen other S.H.Figuarts get into this particular type of technique. So to me, this one is a first, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. The only downfall for the figure was basically the hair, which didn't really have good articulation within the backside, which often interfere with the cape, as you can see here, and this is another example of that. And same thing for the front of the bangs. Even though they're articulated, they don't really help much, especially if you want to keep an eye out for not deforming the hair piece that comes off when you swap out the face plates. One of the things that separates this Kyojuro Rengoku from the other S.H.Figuarts is that all the other characters, their haoris are part of the body, but this is the only character where the cape is not part of the body, and it gives you the option to explain with and without the haori.
Set your heart ablaze. Overcome your limits. I am the Flame Hashira, Kyojuro Rengoku, Ninth Form, Rengoku!
Here's a side-by-side comparison between the two Flame Hashiras. On the left is the BUZZmod version, and on the right is the new S.H.Figuarts. What I did here, I have both figures doing the same pose, same expression, same everything, just so you can see a 1-for-1 match. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. For starters, one thing to note, the BUZZmod figure, it is very slightly shorter than the S.H.Figuarts, but not by a whole lot. If you look at the face expressions, you can see that the eyebrows are thicker on the BUZZmod version versus the S.H.Figuarts one. The other thing is the nose is a little bit more pointier on the S.H.Figuarts. But one thing that I like is I think the BUZZmod one has a better paint job overall, especially on the tones of the hair, especially when you look at the tsuba of the sword. The BUZZmod one is very metallic looking, while the S.H.Figuarts one is just a plain flat paint job. But you can see that it's way bigger than the BUZZmod one. The other thing to note is you can see that the S.H.Figuarts one is a little bit more slimmer, especially towards the pants versus the BUZZmod one. But you can really see the two different capes as they shine differently, especially how they fit the figure differently, especially with the extra added sections that the S.H.Figuarts variant has. But as far as the details go, the hair on the BUZZmod one has more divisions within the hair as far as different segments go. Looking to the back side, you can see how the cape of the BUZZmod one is more detailed versus the one of S.H.Figuarts. Also, the red painted tips are a lot more noticeable on the S.H.Figuarts Hashira versus the one on the left. Don't forget to follow me on IG at Titandel86. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. Who do you think did it better? The other details are more down towards the sandals, where you just get more definition on the BUZZmod one. And also another huge difference is how the legs are divided, where the BUZZmod one basically has the big trunk coming from the groin all the way to the knees, where on the S.H.Figuarts one it's basically divided into 3 segments, and then you also have the extra segment by the calf. Overall, comparing both figures side by side, I want to say sculpture wise, BUZZmod did a better job than S.H.Figuarts as far as putting more definition to every section. The only exception there is the faceplates. In this one, I believe that S.H.Figuarts did a slightly better job than BUZZmod did overall there, especially with the expressions. But other than that, I say BUZZmod did a better job at the sculpture, especially with the hair, the outfit, and the cape. And for the coloring, as far as the Nichiren swords go, I think BUZZmod also did a better job there versus the one from S.H.Figuarts. But as far as the coloring goes, I think the colors from S.H.Figuarts match better of Rengoku's representation in the anime. For example, the red is not a dark red, it's more of a bright red, which is what S.H.Figuarts did. And as for the articulations, I want to say that S.H.Figuarts also did a better job, so therefore I lean more towards the S.H.Figuarts variant. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts. And that is because the overall execution and functionality was done a lot better on S.H.Figuarts, and that goes to how they divided the figure to get different articulations, and even in the cape, as you can see there. And also as representation, even though the BUZZmod figure is sculpted a lot better, that's the only thing that it's got going for. But on the other hand, the BUZZmod actually gave you accessories, but I know if you remember from my video, the spinning wheel and the fire flame effect part, they weren't that great to begin with. So I would take the extra expressions that we get with the figure over the accessories, and that is a big one for me to say that. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.